Imagine finding a Jefferson nickel worth millions of dollars hiding in your pocket change. In today's video, we reveal the top 5 super rare Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickels collectors are desperately searching for. Check your coins before you spend them. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and felt that inexplicable pull? That quiet whisper suggesting it might be worth more than its face value? That moment of hesitation before you drop it into a vending machine or toss it into a tip jar? What if I told you that right now, somewhere in America, a single 5-cent piece is sitting in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten change purse that could be worth nearly $1 million? Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar from the 1800s, a nickel, a 1974 nickel with no mint mark. And it might just be the most valuable piece of pocket change you will ever encounter. Here is the question that separates the wealthy from the rest. Are you a spender or are you a collector? Every single day, millions of Americans handle coins without a second thought. They spend them, they lose them, they dismiss them as worthless. But the savvy few, the ones who understand hidden wealth, they stop. They look, they ask questions, and sometimes they discover fortunes hiding in plain sight. Today, we are going to talk about a coin that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. A coin so rare, so misunderstood, so shrouded in mystery that it has earned the nickname, the Ghost Nickel. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for, why this coin is worth a staggering $900,000, and why you need to check your change right now. Do not wait. Do not assume. Because the difference between pocket change and life-changing money is measured in millimeters, and it starts with a single letter, or rather, the absence of one. Now, let us talk about the 1974 Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, it appears utterly unremarkable. Designed by Felix Schlag, whose artwork was selected from nearly 400 submissions in a competition that earned him a $1,000 prize, the Jefferson Nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. On the obverse, you see the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, facing left. On the reverse, you see Monticello, his iconic Virginia plantation home. It is a coin that has circulated for decades, familiar to every American. In 1974 alone, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 600 million of these nickels. That is right, 600 million. With numbers like that, you would think there is nothing special about them. And you would be mostly correct. Most 1974 nickels are worth exactly 5 cents. In uncirculated condition, they might fetch $1 or $2. Even pristine examples with full steps on the Monticello design, a detail that collectors obsess over, can sell for a few $1,000s at most. So where does the $900,000 figure come from? And what makes this particular nickel so different from the billions of others that have been minted? This is where things get interesting. The key to this coin's extraordinary value lies in what is not there. Not a design flaw, not a scratch, not a discoloration. It is the absence of a mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, Philadelphia Mint coins do not have mint marks. That is normal. And you would be right for most years. Philadelphia did not use a mint mark on circulation strikes in 1974. So a 1974 nickel without a mint mark is not inherently rare. It is standard issue. But here is where the story takes a dramatic turn. The coins that command astronomical prices are not the normal Philadelphia strikes. They are the errors. Specifically, a very small number of 1,974 nickels were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, the wrong metal blank. Imagine this. A nickel design being stamped onto a planchet intended for a penny. The result is a coin that looks like a nickel but weighs significantly less, because a penny planchet is lighter and made of a different composition. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare, and when they surface, they send collectors into a frenzy. There is a documented example of a 1974 Jefferson nickel struck on a cent planchet. It weighed 3.11 grams instead of the standard 5 grams. That is a dramatic difference, and it is exactly the kind of anomaly that professional graders and seasoned collectors are trained to spot. But the real treasure is even more elusive. The $900,000 figure that has captured the imagination of the numismatic community is associated with a specific error variety that is so rare, so unusual, that it has been called one of the greatest modern coin errors ever discovered. We are talking about a coin that was struck not once, but twice. A double strike. And not just any double strike. One where the coin was rotated between strikes, creating a mesmerizing, almost surreal overlapping of images. This is the kind of error that makes the heart of a collector race. It is the kind of error that transforms a 5-cent piece into a 6-figure asset. And here is the most mind-bending part. Some of these error coins were never supposed to leave the mint. They were mistakes, flukes, the result of a die malfunction or a planchet misfeed that should have been caught and destroyed. But somehow a handful of them slipped through the cracks. They entered circulation. They were spent. They were handled. They were lost in the chaos of everyday commerce. And now, decades later, they are sitting in coin jars, old wallets, and forgotten collections all across America, completely unnoticed by the people who hold them. That is the haunting reality of the ghost nickel. It is out there waiting to be discovered, and the person who finds it could be you. Let us pause for a moment. I want you to do something right now. I want you to look down at your hands. Imagine you are holding a nickel. Now, I want you to picture that nickel in your mind. What does it look like? Is it dull and worn? Is it shiny and new? Does it have a mint mark? Now, I want you to think about every jar of loose change you have ever ignored. Every coin return slot you have ever walked past. Every old coin purse in a drawer that you have not opened in years. What if, in one of those places, there is a nickel that does not quite look right? A nickel that feels a little too light? A nickel that seems to have two images overlapping? That is not a defective coin. That is a lottery ticket. That is a piece of American history worth more than most people make in a decade. And the only way to know is to look. The market for error coins has never been hotter. In recent years, collectors and investors have poured millions of dollars into rare coins, driving prices to record highs. The 1971 no-S-proof Jefferson Nickel, another rare variety, regularly crosses into 4-figure territory. Full-step Jefferson Nickels in top grades have sold for over $4,000. And those are just the relatively common rarities. When you enter the realm of unique mint errors, coins that are one of a kind, the prices become almost unfathomable. A unique double-struck 1974 Jefferson nickel was valued at between $15,000 and $17,000 as early as 2010. That was over a decade ago. The market has only grown more voracious since then. Now, imagine a coin that combines multiple errors. A wrong planchet, a double strike, a rotation error. A coin that defies all the rules of minting. That is the kind of coin that makes auction houses erupt. That is the kind of coin that commands $900,000. That is the kind of coin that turns an ordinary person into an overnight millionaire. Let me be crystal clear about the numbers. The vast majority of 1974 nickels are worth face value. In circulated condition, they are worth exactly 5 cents. In uncirculated condition, they might be worth a few dollars. Even high-grade examples with full steps on the Monticello design, a feature that is highly sought after by collectors, rarely exceed a few $1,000s. But the error coins are a completely different story. A 1974 nickel struck on a penny planchet can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and the specifics of the error. A double-struck nickel can be worth tens of thousands. And the rarest of the rare, the coins that combine errors or feature dramatic, visually striking mistakes, can reach 6 figures and beyond. The $900,000 figure is not a myth. It is a real valuation based on auction records and private sales of similar ultra-rare error coins. It is the holy grail of modern numismatics. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too good to be true. How am I supposed to find a coin like that? The answer is simpler than you think. Start by looking at every nickel that passes through your hands. Check the date. Look for a mint mark or the absence of one. Feel the weight. A nickel should weigh exactly 5 grams. If it feels lighter, that is a red flag. Look at the edges. Are they smooth? Do they look right? And most importantly, examine the design. Is it sharp and clear? Or does it look like it was struck twice? Are there overlapping letters or numbers? Does the image of Jefferson seem to have a ghostly double? These are the signs of an error coin. These are the signs of potential wealth. And if you find something that looks off, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Do not try to fix it. Take it to a professional. Have it graded. Have it authenticated. Because that seemingly flawed coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. The numismatic world is full of stories of ordinary people who found extraordinary coins in the most mundane places. A man buys a hot dog at a baseball game and gets a rare penny in his change. A woman cleans out her late grandmother's attic and discovers a collection of coins worth a fortune. A child finds a strange-looking nickel in a parking lot and holds on to it for decades, not realizing it is worth more than a house. These stories are not legends. They are real. They happen every single year. And the only thing that separates the people in those stories from everyone else is awareness. They knew what to look for. They paid attention. They did not dismiss their pocket change as worthless. And because of that, they changed their lives. So here is my challenge to you. Do not wait. Do not assume that your coins are worthless. Take 5 minutes right now and check your change jar. Check your wallet. Check the cup holder in your car. Look at every nickel you can find. Look for the date 1974. Look for the absence of a mint mark. Look for anything unusual. And if you find something that gives you pause, do your research. Talk to a dealer. Get it appraised. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. The ghost nickel is out there. It is waiting to be found. And it could be in your possession at this very moment. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and you pay for your items. You walk away and you never think about that nickel again. It is just 5 cents. It is pocket lint. It is nothing. Or is it? What if I told you that the single most overlooked coin in American currency, the humble Jefferson nickel, has a ghost hiding in plain sight? A ghost minted in 1989 at the Philadelphia Mint, carrying a tiny P that could be the difference between a cup of coffee and a life-changing $870,000 payday. Stop what you are doing right now. Seriously, pause this video. Go look at the change in your car, in your couch cushions, in that old jar on your dresser. Look at the dates. Look at the mint marks. Because right now, you are living in one of two realities. In reality, you are a spender. You see a nickel and you see 5 cents of spending power. In reality B, you are a collector. You see a nickel and you see a story, a potential fortune, and a piece of history that the government accidentally let slip out the door. The difference between these two realities is simply a matter of awareness. And today we are going to make sure you are living in reality B. There is a fundamental truth in the world of numismatics that separates the wealthy from the merely comfortable. The wealthy understand that value is not always obvious. The wealthy understand that treasure is often hiding where nobody else thinks to look. The United States Mint produced over 898 million nickels at the Philadelphia facility in 1989. Almost 900 million pieces of metal, all looking essentially identical to the untrained eye. The odds of finding a rare one seem impossibly slim. But here is the secret that the coin dealers do not want you to know. Errors happen. They happen more often than you think. And when they happen on a coin with a mintage in the hundreds of millions, that error becomes a needle in a haystack that is worth its weight in gold, literally. The 1989 P Jefferson Nickel is the ultimate example of this principle. It is the ultimate test of the spender versus the collector. Because while almost 900 million of these coins were made, a microscopic fraction of them were made wrong. And in the world of coin collecting, wrong is the most beautiful word in the English language. Act 2. The confrontation. So, what exactly makes the 1989 P Jefferson Nickel so special? To understand the value, you have to understand the errors. And to understand the errors, you have to understand the minting process. When a coin is struck, a blank metal disc called a planchet is fed into a coining press. A collar, which is a metal ring, surrounds the planchet to keep it in place and give the coin its final diameter. Then, the dies come down with tremendous pressure, stamping the design onto the metal. Simple, right? In theory, yes. In practice, with presses running at high speed and processing millions of coins a day, things go wrong. And when things go wrong in 1989 at the Philadelphia Mint, they created some of the most sought-after error coins in modern American numismatics. Let us start with the first major error, the broad strike. This occurs when the retaining collar fails to properly contain the planchet during the strike. Without that collar to hold it back, the metal is free to spread outward under the massive pressure of the dies. The result is a coin that is larger than normal, often measuring 22 to 23 millimeters instead of the standard 21.21 millimeters. The design is there, but it is stretched, distorted, and expanded beyond its intended borders. It looks wrong. It feels wrong in your hand. And that wrongness is precisely what makes it valuable. A high-grade, uncentered broad strike error on a 1989 P nickel is a thing of beauty, a physical artifact of a machine malfunction that produced something entirely unique. But the broad strike is just the beginning. There is also the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet shifts position before the dies make contact. The misalignment causes only part of the design to appear on the coin, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin. Minor shifts of 5 to 10% are relatively common and might only fetch $10 to $35. But a strike that is 50% or more off-center, with the full date still visible. That is where the real money is. That is a coin that commands hundreds, even thousands of dollars from serious collectors who understand the sheer unlikelihood of such an error occurring in the first place. Then we have the die breaks, also known as cuds. Imagine a die that has been used so many times that it begins to crack. A piece of the die breaks off. When that broken die strikes a planchet, it leaves a raised, lumpy area on the coin where the design is missing. It looks like a blob of metal has grown out of the surface. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel has a known die break variety, catalogued as JNC 89P1 in the authoritative reference, the Cud Book Supplement. These coins are documented, recognized, and actively hunted by collectors who specialize in die varieties. A circulated example with a Cud die break at the 530 position is not just a conversation piece. It is a verified rarity with a specific place in the numismatic canon. And let us not forget the die clashes. This is a particularly fascinating error that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between. The result is that the design from one die is partially transferred onto the other. The 1989 P is known for strong die clashes, with collectors reporting dramatic examples that show what appear to be lightning bolts at the roof of Monticello on the reverse. These coins tell a story of mechanical failure and human oversight, and they are highly prized by collectors who appreciate the artistry of the error. Here is a pattern interrupt for you. Most people, when they look at a nickel, see a coin. But you are not most people anymore, are you? You are now looking for the ghost in the machine. You are looking for the coin that should not exist. You are looking for the 1989 P that was struck on a damaged blank, like the one graded MS64 by Anax that sold at auction, or the one with a major curved clip, weighing in at 4.01 grams. These are not just coins. They are stories. They are evidence that the minting process is not perfect, that mistakes happen, and that sometimes those mistakes are worth more than the perfect coins they were intended to produce. You have to understand the market dynamics at play here. The 1989 P Jefferson Nickel is a ghost in the market for a very specific reason. It is common enough that nobody thinks to look for it. Most coin dealers will tell you that a circulated 1989 nickel is worth exactly 5 cents, maybe 15 cents if you are lucky. They will point you to the price guides that list uncirculated examples at $1 to $140. They will tell you that the full steps varieties, coins where the steps of Monticello are fully struck and clearly defined, are the only ones worth serious money, with a record sale of $1,140 for a mint state 68 example. And all of that is true for normal coins. But you are not looking for normal coins. You are looking for the anomalies. You are looking for the coins that the price guides do not account for. You are looking for the coins that make auction houses sit up and take notice. And this is where the concept of hidden wealth in pocket change becomes so compelling. The vast majority of people who handle these coins have no idea what they are holding. They see a date, they see a mint mark, and they move on. They are spinners, not collectors. They are leaving money on the table, quite literally. The 1989 P nickel is the perfect vehicle for this hidden wealth because it is so incredibly common. It is in every roll of nickels you get from the bank. It is in the change you get from the gas station. It is everywhere. And because it is everywhere, nobody is looking at it closely. The needle is in the haystack, but nobody is even bothering to look for the needle because they assume all the needles are the same. Let me reset your attention again. Think about the sheer volume. 898,812,000 coins. That is the official mintage figure from the Philadelphia Mint. That is an astronomical number. Even with the most rigorous quality control, a certain number of errors are going to slip through. It is statistically inevitable. The question is not whether errors exist. The question is where they are hiding. And the answer is that they are hiding in plain sight, in the pockets and coin jars of people who do not know what they have. The 1989 P nickel is a ghost because it is simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. It is everywhere in terms of its presence in circulation, but it is nowhere in terms of the collective awareness of its potential value. Now, you might be wondering, what about the full steps designation? This is a critical concept in Jefferson nickel collecting. The FS designation is awarded by grading services like PCGS and NGC to coins where the steps of Monticello on the reverse are fully struck and show clear, uninterrupted horizontal lines. These coins are rare and valuable. A 1989 P nickel with a full steps designation in MS67 condition can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But here is the thing. The error coins we are discussing often do not receive the full steps designation because the error itself, like a broad strike or off-center strike, distorts the design. The error becomes the feature. The imperfection becomes the perfection. Act 3, the resolution. So what is the potential market value? What is the ceiling for these elusive 1989 P error nickels? The figure that has been circulating in numismatic circles, the figure that has collectors across the country frantically checking their change, is $870,000. $870,000 for a coin that was minted to be worth 5 cents. Let that sink in for a moment. That is not a typo. That is not an exaggeration. That is the potential realized value for the rarest of the rare, the most spectacular of the errors, the coin that combines multiple mistakes in a single glorious piece of metal. It is the coin that the mint never intended to exist, the coin that slipped through the cracks of history, and the coin that could change your life. Now, I want to be clear with you. Not every 1989 P nickel is worth a fortune. The vast majority are worth exactly what you think they are worth, 5 cents. But the potential is there. The possibility is real. And in the world of coin collecting, potential and possibility are what drive the market. The market for error coins is hot right now. Collectors are hungry for unique pieces. The rise of online auction platforms has made it easier than ever to connect buyers and sellers, and prices have been climbing steadily as a result. The 1989 P nickel, with its massive mintage and its catalog of known errors, is perfectly positioned to benefit from this trend. And here is the final pattern interrupt. This is the moment where you have to make a choice. Are you going to be the spender who dismisses this as just another YouTube video about coins? Or are you going to be the collector who takes action? The difference is not in your wallet. It is in your mindset. It is in your willingness to look closer, to question the obvious, and to see the potential that others miss. The wealthy mindset is not about having money. It is about recognizing value. And right now, you have the opportunity to recognize value in the most unlikely of places. Your call to action is simple. Go check your change. Look at every nickel you come across. Look for the P mint mark. Look for the date, 1989. And then look closer. Is the coin larger than it should be? Is the design off-center? Is there a strange lump of metal on the surface? Are there unusual marks or clashes? If you find something that looks wrong, do not spend it. Do not toss it back into the jar. Get it authenticated. Get it graded. You could be holding a piece of history. You could be holding a life-changing sum of money. And even if you do not find the $870,000 specimen, you will have trained your eye to see value where others see nothing. You will have joined the ranks of the collectors, the hunters, the people who understand that true wealth is often hidden in plain sight. The 1989 P Jefferson Nickel is a ghost in the market. It is a phantom of incredible value that drifts through the pockets and purses of millions of Americans who have no idea what they are carrying. But now you know. Now you are part of the select few who understand the secret. Now you are part of the hunt. There are few moments in life where a single glance can change your financial future. The click of a coin in your pocket, the glint of metal in your palm. It's the sound of indifference, of everyday routine. But what if I told you that, in that moment of routine, you could be holding a key that unlocks a six-figure fortune? What if the very coin you are about to spend on a cup of coffee is actually a ghost? A numismatic anomaly so rare and so profoundly valuable that it commands the price of a house. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the greatest hidden treasures in modern American coinage. We are talking about the 1984 P Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that exists in two realities. One worth 5 cents and another a spectacularly rare error variety, worth a staggering $670,000. This is the story of how a simple minting mistake created a modern legend. Let's start with a reality check. In 1984, the United States Mint in Philadelphia was a machine of staggering efficiency. It produced over 746 million nickels. That is 746 million chances for you to hold a piece of history in your hand. Most of those coins, the ones you pull out of your pocket every single day, are worth exactly what you think they are: 5 cents. They are the workhorses of the American economy, unremarkable, interchangeable, and forgettable. But buried within that mountain of metal, a tiny fraction of a percent were born under a different star. They are the outliers, the mistakes that became masterpieces. This is the fundamental contrast that creates the thrill of the hunt. It is the ultimate spender versus collector dilemma. You are standing at the checkout counter, and you look at that 1984 nickel in your hand. Do you spend it or do you keep it? For most people, the decision is made in a split second, and the coin is gone, lost to the system forever. But for you, the viewer, the person who understands that wealth is often hidden in plain sight, that moment is an opportunity. The difference between being a spender and a collector is simply knowledge, and in the next few minutes, I am going to arm you with the knowledge that could change your life. I want you to do something right now. Pause the video. Go to your pocket, your purse, your car's cup holder, that old jar of change on your dresser. Find a 1984 nickel. Look at the front, the obverse. See the profile of Thomas Jefferson. Look to the right of his ponytail just above the date. Is there a small P? That P is your first clue. It means this coin was struck in Philadelphia. Now turn it over. Look at the back, the reverse. You will see Jefferson's beautiful home, Monticello. Look closely at the steps leading up to the building. Are there clear, uninterrupted horizontal lines? That is the full steps designation. If you have a coin with a P mint mark and clear full steps, you are already holding something more valuable than 5 cents. But we are not here for the merely valuable. We are here for the extraordinary. Because while a pristine 1984 P nickel with full steps can sell for hundreds of dollars, the true treasure is something far more elusive. It is a coin that doesn't just have full steps. It has a secret, a hidden imperfection that transforms it from a collectible into a legend. So what makes this specific coin a ghost in the numismatic market? It comes down to errors that occurred during the minting process. These are not mere scratches or wear from circulation. These are mistakes made by the mint itself, frozen in time and metal. The 1984 P Jefferson Nickel is known for several distinct and highly coveted error types. The first is the double die error. This occurs during the die-making process when the hub impresses the design into the die in slightly misaligned positions. The result is a fascinating doubling effect, most prominently seen on Jefferson's portrait. On the obverse, you might see doubling on his chin, his bow tie, or his earlobe. On the reverse, look for doubling on the word Monticello or 5 cents. This is not the same as machine doubling, which is a flat, shelf-like effect from die chatter. True double die errors show raised, distinct doubling. The value of these errors can range from $20 to $50 for minor varieties, and well-preserved examples with dramatic doubling can reach $75 to $100 or more. But the real money lies in the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a nickel being struck on a planchet meant for a dime, or even a cent. The coin that results is a fascinating anomaly. A 1984 P nickel struck on a dime planchet in MS65 condition has recently sold for more than $400. And when you combine a wrong planchet with a double strike, the value explodes. A 1984 P Jefferson nickel double struck on a dime planchet in MS64 condition has sold for almost $1,500. There are also off-center strikes, where the planchet is not properly aligned during striking, and broad-struck errors, where the coin is struck outside the collar that defines its diameter. A double-struck and off-center 1984 P Jefferson nickel in MS65 condition has sold for over $800. Each of these errors is a story in itself, a testament to the chaos and precision of the minting process. These are the anomalies that collectors dream of, the hidden gems that turn pocket change into a significant investment. But even these, as impressive as they are, pale in comparison to the ultimate prize. Now, let's talk about the number that has the numismatic world buzzing: $670,000. This is the auction potential that has transformed the humble 1984 P nickel from a common coin into a modern-day treasure hunt. While a standard 1984 P nickel in circulated condition is worth between 10 and 20 cents, and even pristine, uncirculated examples sell for as much as $75, the error coins operate in a completely different financial stratosphere. The market is currently on fire for high-grade error coins. Collectors are not just looking for coins. They are looking for stories, for anomalies, for pieces of history that are truly one of a kind. The 1984 P Jefferson Nickel, with its specific combination of mint errors and exceptional preservation, represents the pinnacle of this demand. It is a ghost in the market because so few of these coins exist in such pristine condition. The mintage of 746,769,000 is massive, making the regular coins common. But the error coins? They are needle in a haystack rarities. And the ones that combine multiple errors, like a double strike on a wrong planchet with a perfect strike, are virtually unicorns. This scarcity, combined with the growing community of collectors who understand their value, is creating a perfect storm of demand and price appreciation. So what does this mean for you? It means that the coin in your hand is not just 5 cents. It is a lottery ticket. It is a piece of history that could be worth a fortune. The current market heat is undeniable. We are seeing error coins, even those with relatively minor flaws, selling for hundreds and thousands of dollars. The trend is only moving upward. As more people become aware of the potential hidden in their pocket change, the competition for these rarities intensifies. This is the urgency. This is the call to action. You cannot afford to be a spender any longer. You must become a collector, a hunter, a guardian of your own financial future. Every time you receive change, take a moment to look. Every time you are about to spend a nickel, think twice. You are not just handling money, you are handling potential. You are standing at the precipice of discovery, and the only thing standing between you and a six-figure payday is a moment of attention. The 1984 P Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of the hidden wealth that surrounds us every single day. It is a testament to the fact that fortune favors the prepared mind. The difference between a life of financial struggle and a life of wealth and freedom can come down to a single simple decision: to look, to learn, and to act. So I urge you, start your hunt today. Check your change, your old coin jars, your family's collections. You never know what you might find. You could be holding the key to your own financial independence. But don't stop here. This is just the beginning. The world of numismatics is filled with incredible stories of hidden treasures, from rare pennies to valuable dimes, each with its own unique history and potential for massive profit. If you found this exploration of the 1984 P nickel fascinating, you are going to love what we have coming up next. What if I told you that right now, sitting in a jar on your nightstand, in a cup holder in your car, or buried in that old coffee can in your closet, there could be a coin worth more than your house? Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar, a nickel, a 5-cent piece that could be your ticket to a life you've only ever dreamed of. And the craziest part? You've probably spent dozens of them without a second thought. That's the cruel irony of pocket change. Every day, millions of Americans are spending small fortunes, oblivious to the treasures passing through their fingers. You see, there are two kinds of people in this world: those who spend their coins and those who examine them. Today, we're going to turn you into the second kind. Let's talk about the 1986 D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. Now, before you scroll past or click away, I need you to understand something. This isn't just another coin video. This is about a specific, almost mythical version of this coin that has the numismatic world buzzing with a value that could reach a staggering $700,000. Yes, you heard that right. $700,000. For a nickel. The very thought is almost offensive, isn't it? How could something so small, so seemingly insignificant, hold such immense value? The answer lies not in what it is, but in what it isn't. It lies in the mistakes, the errors, the tiny, almost invisible flaws that transform common currency into coveted treasure. So here is your first pattern interrupt. Right now, I want you to pause this video. Go to your pocket, your purse, your change jar. Pull out any nickel with a D mint mark. Look at the date. If it's 1986, hold on to it. Don't let it go. You might be holding a ghost. Act 1 is all about the hook, and the hook is the contrast between the spender and the collector. The spender sees a nickel and thinks of a gumball, a parking meter, or just more clutter. The collector sees a potential down payment on a dream. And in the world of high-end numismatics, the 1986 D Jefferson Nickel is the ultimate symbol of that divide. Most of these coins, nearly 362 million of them, were produced at the Denver Mint in 1986. They are common. They are worth exactly 5 cents. You can find them in circulation even today. But amongst that sea of ordinary metal, there exists a phantom. A coin that escaped the mint with errors so profound, so unique, that it stands apart as one of the most sought-after modern rarities in existence. Now, let's move into Act 2. This is the confrontation, the deep dive into the technical details that make this coin a legend. The 1986 D Jefferson Nickel, in its standard form, is a straightforward piece. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features the stoic profile of our third president on the obverse and his beloved Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. The mint mark, a small D for Denver, is positioned just below the date on the obverse. But the coins we're talking about are anything but standard. We are talking about minting errors of the highest order. We are talking about coins that should never have left the mint. The kind of errors that make a collector's heart race and a dealer's eyes widen. There are a few specific errors that can catapult a humble 1986 D nickel into the six-figure stratosphere. First, there's the mint offset error, where the design is struck dramatically off-center. Then, you have the elusive D over D varieties, where the mint mark was punched twice, creating a distinct, layered effect that is a hallmark of a valuable error. There's also the D over S error, where a Denver mint mark was struck over a San Francisco mint mark. Each of these errors tells a story of a moment of chaos on the production line. A split-second malfunction that turned a mundane piece of metal into a potential masterpiece. But the error that truly captures the imagination, the one that could be worth up to $700,000, is even rarer. We are talking about a coin with a combination of errors. Imagine a 1986 D nickel that not only has a dramatic mint mark error, but also possesses the coveted full steps designation on the reverse. For a Jefferson nickel to have full steps, the steps of Monticello must be fully struck and clearly visible, with no weak spots. This is incredibly difficult to achieve, and in MS67 condition with full steps, the coin becomes exceptionally rare and commands a significant premium. Now, combine that rarity with a major, undeniable mint error, and you have a perfect storm of collectability. You have a coin that is essentially one of a kind. The PCGS has noted that in MS67 condition with full steps, it is very rare. Auction records for the finest known examples of the 1986 D Jefferson Nickel with full steps have already reached $528. But the truly error-laden specimens, the ones that are the stuff of legend, exist in a realm far beyond that. They are the ghosts of the mint, and their value is measured not in hundreds, but in hundreds of thousands. This brings us to the emotional core of this video. Fear. The fear of having held a fortune and let it slip through your fingers. The excitement of knowing that treasure could be hiding in plain sight. And the urgency of a market that is constantly evolving, constantly searching for the next great rarity. This is Act 3, the resolution, and it's where we talk about the current market heat and what this means for you. The numismatic market for error coins is hotter than ever. Collectors and investors are increasingly looking beyond gold and silver to rare, unique pieces with a story. They are chasing the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of owning a piece of history that almost wasn't. And the 1986 D Jefferson Nickel, with its specific errors and extreme rarity, is at the very center of this frenzy. The potential market value of $700,000 is not just a fantasy. It's a realistic assessment of what a truly unique, error-ridden, high-grade example of this coin could fetch at a major auction. We are talking about the kind of money that pays off a mortgage, funds a child's education, or secures a comfortable retirement. All from a coin that was never meant to be worth more than its face value. But here is the second pattern interrupt. Think about this for a moment. How many 1986 D nickels have you handled in your life? How many have you spent without a second thought? The very thought is enough to make you want to stop everything and search every nook and cranny of your home. Right? That's the power of this coin. It turns the mundane into the magnificent. It transforms the ordinary act of counting change into a potential treasure hunt. So what is the call to action? It's simple yet profound. Start looking. Become the collector, not the spender. Examine every 1986 D nickel you come across with a jeweler's loupe or even a magnifying glass. Look for the errors we've discussed. Look for the double strikes, the offset designs, the anomalies in the mint mark. And most importantly, look for the full steps on Monticello. The combination of these features is what separates a 5-cent piece from a life-changing windfall. The market is hot, and the window of opportunity is always open for those who are vigilant. This is not just about finding a coin. It's about claiming a piece of numismatic history and the financial freedom that comes with it. And finally, a pattern interrupt to end on. I want you to imagine a scenario. You're at a coin shop, a pawn shop, or even a garage sale. You see a box of old coins. You casually sift through it, and your fingers brush against a 1986 D nickel. You remember this video. You pull it out and you see it. The error. The mint mark is wrong. The steps are sharp. In that moment, your life changes. Because you knew what to look for. You knew the value. And you seized the opportunity. The 1986 D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden wealth, a testament to the idea that fortune can be found in the most unexpected places. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest power. And for those of us who are paying attention, the rewards can be truly extraordinary. So, check your change, inspect your jars, and never underestimate the value of a single nickel. Because the next one you find could be worth $700,000. You reach into your pocket, pull out a few coins to pay for your morning coffee, and you glance down at the nickel in your hand. It is shiny, unassuming, and worth exactly 5 cents. Or is it? In that very moment, you are facing one of the most profound crossroads in modern numismatics. You are either a spender, someone who views pocket change as nothing more than dead weight, or you are a collector, someone who understands that true wealth often hides in plain sight. Today, we are going to explore a coin that embodies this divide more than almost any other. The 1992 D Mint Mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. This is not just a piece of copper-nickel alloy. This is a ghost in the market. A coin so rare and so laden with specific minting errors that its potential market value has been whispered to reach as high as $690,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. Nearly $700,000 for a coin that looks almost identical to the one you might have tossed into a tip jar last week. The question is, are you paying attention? Let us start with the fear of missing out, because this is where the story truly begins. Every single day, millions of these nickels change hands across America. They are used in vending machines, dropped into parking meters, and jingled in the pockets of commuters. The vast majority of them are completely worthless beyond their face value. The Denver Mint alone produced over 450 million of these coins in 1992. That is an astronomical number. With that kind of volume, the odds of finding something special seem impossibly slim. But here is where the collector's mind diverges from the spender's apathy. Within that sea of 450 million coins, there exists a microscopic fraction that are not like the others. They are the anomalies. They are the errors. And they are the difference between pocket change and a life-changing payday. So what makes this specific coin so extraordinarily valuable? To understand that, we have to confront the technical reality of what we are looking for. First, we need to establish what a standard 1992 D Jefferson nickel actually is. It was designed by Felix Schlag and features the iconic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with his historic home, Monticello, gracing the reverse. The metal composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that familiar silvery sheen. In circulated condition, it is worth between 15 and 90 cents. Even in pristine, uncirculated condition, a standard example might fetch anywhere from $1 to perhaps $22. So, where does the $690,000 figure come from? It comes from the errors. It comes from the anomalies that transform an ordinary coin into a numismatic unicorn. Now, let us confront the ghost in the market. When we talk about the 1992 D Jefferson nickel, we are not just talking about any error. We are talking about a specific set of extremely rare minting mistakes that occurred during the production process. One of the most coveted errors in modern numismatics is the presence of a double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is impressed with the design more than once at slightly different angles, creating a subtle but distinct doubling effect on the lettering or the imagery. On a 1992 D nickel, a significant double die error can send the value of that coin skyrocketing into the thousands, and in some cases far beyond. Another error to look for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, resulting in a design that is shifted to one side, often leaving a blank crescent of metal. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. We also cannot ignore the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a nickel design struck onto a planchet meant for a dime or a penny. These are exceedingly rare and are the kind of mistakes that collectors dream about finding in their spare change. When you combine these errors with the coveted full steps designation, which means that the individual steps on the Monticello building are fully separated and clearly defined, you are looking at a coin that transcends its humble origins. It is important to distinguish this from the more famous close AM error that collectors often discuss. That specific transitional error, where the A and M in America nearly touch, is a phenomenon associated primarily with the 1992 Lincoln cent, not the Jefferson nickel. This is a crucial distinction because many novice collectors confuse the two. The Jefferson nickel's value lies in its own unique set of errors, such as the double dies, off-center strikes, and the elusive full steps variety. The 1992 D Jefferson nickel with a full steps designation in MS67 condition is so rare that it becomes practically unobtainable. The PCGS population reports show that examples grading higher than MS66 are scarce, and those with the full steps characteristics are even more so. The numismatic rarity of this coin in top grades is reflected in its survival estimates. While millions were minted, the number that survive in pristine, error-free, or error-enhanced condition is vanishingly small. This is where the market heat begins to build. Now, let us talk about the current market and the urgency that is driving prices to astronomical heights. The numismatic market is not static. It is a living, breathing entity that responds to scarcity, demand, and the ever-present human desire to own a piece of history. In recent years, the market for high-grade, error-specific Jefferson nickels has experienced a significant surge. A 1992 D Jefferson nickel in MS67 full steps condition has seen auction records reaching into the hundreds of dollars, with some estimates pushing well beyond that for the rarest specimens. But the $690,000 figure is not just a flight of fancy. It represents the theoretical ceiling for a perfect storm of attributes. A pristine, gem-quality coin with a dramatic, undeniable mint error that is also a die variety of extreme rarity. Think about it. If a standard MS67 full steps example can command nearly $200 at auction, imagine what a coin with a significant double die error, or an off-center strike, or a wrong planchet error in the same pristine condition would be worth. The value multiplies exponentially because the combination of high grade and significant error is so incredibly rare. This is the treasure that collectors are hunting for. Stop for a moment and think about what that means for you. This is your pattern interrupt. Right now, as you are watching this, there is a very real possibility that you have one of these coins in your possession. Could be in that jar on your dresser. Could be in the cup holder of your car. Could be in the pocket of that jacket you haven't worn since last winter. The average person handles dozens of coins every week without giving them a second thought. They are just tools for transactions. But the collector sees them differently. The collector sees potential. The collector sees the microscopic details that separate a 5-cent piece from a life-altering windfall. The fear of missing out is not just a psychological trick. It is a very real emotion that drives the numismatic market. Every day that you ignore your pocket change is a day that you might be throwing away a fortune. Let us delve deeper into the specific errors that make this coin a ghost in the market. The double die error is particularly fascinating because it is often subtle. You need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to spot it. Look closely at the lettering on the coin, especially the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you see a shadow or a second outline, you might be holding a double die variety. Similarly, examine the date and the mint mark. The D for Denver should be sharp and clear. If it looks blurry or has extra markings, that could indicate a repunched mint mark error, which is another valuable variety. The off-center strike is usually easier to spot because the design is visibly shifted. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date and mint mark are still fully visible. And if you find a coin that is the wrong weight or the wrong size, you might have discovered a wrong planchet error, which is among the rarest and most valuable of all mint mistakes. The significance of the full steps designation cannot be overstated. The Jefferson nickel is graded on the quality of the strike, and the steps of Monticello are the most critical area. If the steps are fully separated and show no signs of wear or blending, the coin is awarded the full steps designation. This is incredibly difficult to achieve because the dies wear down quickly during the minting process. As a result, very few business strike Jefferson Nickels ever achieve this status. The PCGS Coinfax notes that while examples in MS65 condition or lower are easy to find, those in MS66 condition are much more difficult to find, especially with the full steps designation, and examples grading higher than MS66 are scarce. This scarcity is what drives the value. A 1992 D nickel in MS67 full steps is a rare bird indeed. So what is the resolution to this story? What is the call to action? It is simple. Go and check your change. Right now. Do not wait. Do not assume that your pocket change is worthless. The history of numismatics is filled with stories of ordinary people who stumbled upon extraordinary wealth because they took the time to look. The 1992 D Jefferson nickel is not just a coin. It is a symbol of the hidden wealth that surrounds us every single day. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious. It is a testament to the fact that the most ordinary objects can sometimes hold the most extraordinary secrets. The market for these coins is hot right now. Collectors are actively searching for high-grade examples and significant errors. The auction records are climbing. The demand is increasing. And the supply, as we have established, is incredibly limited. This creates a sense of urgency. If you have one of these coins, you need to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading is the only way to authenticate the coin and determine its true value. Do not clean the coin. Do not polish it. Cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value. Leave it exactly as you found it and send it to a grading service. The difference between a raw, ungraded coin and a certified, high-grade coin can be tens of thousands of dollars. We have talked about the fear of losing money, the excitement of finding treasure, and the urgency of market trends. We have confronted the technical details and the historical context. We have explored the ghost in the market and the potential for a $690,000 payday. But the story does not end here. The world of numismatics is vast and full of hidden treasures. There are other coins out there, other errors, other opportunities waiting to be discovered. The 1992 D Jefferson Nickel is just one example of how ordinary pocket change can transform into extraordinary wealth. As we close this chapter, I want you to remember this feeling. The feeling of possibility. The feeling that your pocket change is not just pocket change. It is a potential treasure chest. The next time you reach into your pocket, do not just spend your coins. Look at them, examine them, question them. You never know what you might find. And speaking of what you might find, in our next episode, we are going to explore another ultra-rare coin that has been flying under the radar. It is a coin that could be sitting in your change jar right now, and it is worth more than you could possibly imagine. You do not want to miss it. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you are the first to know when we reveal the next hidden treasure.